Hello. It's Rob here with a Math 8 lesson. Math 8 is great. Let's discover the rules for exponents of 0, powers to powers, or negative exponents. Now, I totally was not going to film a lesson for this. I went on YouTube to try and find a video that somebody else did. But pretty much everybody I saw quickly skipped to the rule, and I don't want to skip to the rule. I want to show you how to do stuff if you don't know the rule, and let's figure out the rule ourselves. So let's start with 4 to the 3 over 4 to the 3, and let's expand it. The 3 means I multiply it by itself 3 times, and then you see I have 4's on the top and 4's on the bottom. Anything divided by itself is 1. So this is 1. Don't forget, rules we learned in the last lesson. Division is what of the exponents? That's right, subtraction. So that means I get 4 to the 0, which, remember, came out to be 1. I don't think I have to figure out this rule. I think I already know it. How about this time you just put it in the calculator? If you put this in the calculator, what do you get? 2 times 4, caret 0, get out and enter. It says it's 2. You know why it's 2? Well, we already know 4 to the 0 is 1. We just discovered that a second ago. This is the new rule. This is my 0 exponent rule. This is 1. This had nothing to do with it, so we just copied it over. So I'm going to highlight this, which is super easy when you're using Cami. If I have a 0 exponent, I get 1. Okay, so 3 to the 2 to the 4. I want this thing in parentheses written 4 times, so let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I'm using my old multiplication rule, which multiplication says addition, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that the same as right? How many 2's did we write? We wrote 4 2's. We get 3 to the 8. Simplified exponential form. I'm not looking for standard form today. We're trying to figure out rules, so we need to leave it in exponential form. Okay, let's do this one more time before I write the rule down. I want 5x squared, this quantity that's in parentheses, raised to the 3rd power. So I want to write this 3 times. Okay, let's simplify this. I have 1, 2, 3, 5, so I can put that in the calculator. But the x's you cannot put in the calculator. If you do, you will get a wrong answer. And don't forget that multiplication is addition. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is x to the 6. So what exponent was on this 5 but you didn't see it that we should probably write in there? Yeah, that's 5 written 1 time. So this is 5 to the 1. That's where the 3 comes from. 1 plus 1 plus 1. So instead of doing 1 plus 1 plus 1, I'm going to say I did the 1 3 times. And I had the x squared 3 times, which is why we simplified 5 to the 3, x to the 6. Because when I have a power to a power, we multiply. Power is multiply. Power, multiply. I could feel a dance coming on in another video. Pretty sure I had one last year. I don't know if I remember. Okay, let's do this. 2/3 to the 3rd power. Once, twice, 3 times the charm. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. I don't really feel like writing in 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is, that's standard form. I'm really enjoying this exponential form. That's 2 cubed and 3 cubed. What happened here? Let's recap. I had 2 to the 1 over 3 to the 1 to the 3rd power. And then it ended up doing what I did in these other rules, except I kind of separated it top and bottom. Do it to the top, do it to the bottom. Okay, so this got distributed. It's still power rule. Okay, negative exponents. If you remember when I did place value, I went over this. We watched the pattern of place value. The ones place was 10 to the 0. The tens place was 10 to the 1. The hundreds place was 10 squared. And then when we got to go to the other side of the decimal, the tenths place, counting down, was 10 to the negative 1. The hundredths, this is 100th. If you put this in the calculator, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get 100th. Because anytime I don't have letters, I just plug the numbers in the calculator and let it evaluate it. Don't forget that that is the same as if I write it in exponential form, a 10 squared. So a 10, recap, a 10 to the negative 2, which by the way has a denominator that you don't see, which is 1, is the same as a 1 over a 10 to the positive 2. Okay, before I go over the rule, which you might already know, let's do another problem. So this, we have x squared over x to the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anything divided by itself is 1. You can write it on top or write it on the bottom, really doesn't matter. But there isn't nothing here. There's 1 times 1 here, which is 1. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's down here. Okay, so let's remember our old rules. Division is subtraction. 2 minus 7 gives you a negative 5 for an exponent. That's not what I wrote over here, though. I wrote something equivalent. 1 over x to the positive 5. Either answer will work, but if they say write it with positive exponents, they want this one. If they don't say anything, you can write it with negative exponents. So this is the rule for negative exponents. I always like to say that negativity makes me flip out. Negativity makes me flip out. I'm going to write it down. Negativity makes me flip out. And then I feel better. I feel positive after a little flipping. Okay, so let's recap again. We'll summarize here at the bottom. Using our new rules, to 0 power is 1, powers multiply, and negativity makes me flip out. So anything to the 0, and this is in anything, this is x, is 1. You could, and this is a number, so you can straight up put this in a calculator, and the calculator will remind you that this is also a 1. This answer, make sure you're paying attention, the 0 exponent only belongs to the y. So that is the only thing that is 1. I did not do anything with this x. It had an exponent of 1, even though you don't see it. 1 has invisibility powers. If there's nothing in a denominator, there's a 1 in the denominator. If there's nothing written in front of a letter, there's 1, x there. If there's no powers written, it's 1. 1 has superpowers of invisibility. Okay? So anything with a negative exponent makes me flip out, which, mind you, this has a denominator of 1. So when I flip, the 1 goes on top, the x to the n goes on the bottom, and it feels better. It's more positive. So if I have a number here, like x to the negative 3, it's going to be 1 over x to the positive 3. If you completely have a question with no letters, you should put this in the calculator. If you put 2/3 to the negative 1 in the calculator, it's going to tell you 3 over 2. Maybe it tells you 1.5. But if it tells you 1.5, it's because it flipped the 3 over the 2. And now it's to the positive power. Okay? Power multiply. So when I have powers written next to powers, I multiply them. And remember, these rules only are for like bases. I'll explain that again in a second. 2 to the 3 to the 4 is going to be 3 times 4. So this is going to be 2 to the 12. And then, when in doubt, expand it out. So if you're not understanding this, go back and look at that expansion column. X squared, y cubed, the quantity to the 5th power. So I am not multiplying the 2 and the 3, or adding them or anything like that, because this base x is different than this base y. I only apply these rules when I have like bases. So if I wrote this x squared 5 times and this y cubed 5 times, I would be multiplying these exponents. And I would get an answer of x to the 10, y to the 15. There are a lot of questions to do for practice. We will do some of them in class. And if you want to do some of them early, come with some questions. See you then.